Well, I'm not really the chairman, but I will act as the chairman until we elect one, I suppose. So,
All right.
good morning.
45 minutes or
All right. 7:01. Let's go ahead.
Do we have the agendas?
Yes.
Oh, can't see it. All right, I can see it, I guess. I'll adjust.
Go with the flow.
electronic.
All right.
All righty. We'll go ahead and do a call to order. William Bell.
Here.
Ed Giron. Kurt Johnson.
Here.
John McCannon.
Here.
Greg Lewis.
Here.
Michael Milani.
Here.
And Sean Campbell.
Here.
And Mayor Peacock.
Here.
All right.
Trustee Dodge is not here.
Trustee Dodge is not here. He's not part of the meeting today. Approval of minutes. So if you guys have had a chance to take a look at the minutes from our first meeting, so that would be the one back in March. Wanted to see if there's any changes or any adjustments to the meeting minutes. If not, we'll move to go ahead for approval.
Are there any changes to the minutes?
No changes.
I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
So moved. Somebody make the motion.
Okay. Motion to accept.
Second. Okay, the motion has been moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Greg Lewis.
Approved the delay.
Bill Ball.
Approved.
John McCannon.
Aye.
Kurt Johnson.
Aye.
Mike Milani.
Aye.
Sean Campbell.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
I don't have a vote.
I know. All right, items for action. So we have smart sittings. So we're looking for commission members to, and members of the public to assist. Now, this is discussion only. I think, Mike, do you want to take
Can
this one?
I just make a suggestion that we change the order here so that we get a chairman? Yeah, so that we can have someone actually operate, run the meetings. So, anyone want to volunteer to be chairman? Volunteers? Anyone?
I thought we had people lined up that wanted to volunteer. Oh, okay.
Someone? Anyone want to nominate someone?
So, nobody interested?
So
Fine,
just so
I'll-
you know,
I'll
Chairman, all
volunteer.
you're going to do is you're going to operate these meetings, which there's a little bit of a learning curve, but not that much. If I can learn it, anyone can learn it. And then, really, then you're going to basically be the coordinating with Frank as far as the agenda and all that kind of stuff. So he would coordinate with you and you disseminate stuff out.
Since I'm somewhat familiar with the process, I'll volunteer.
Okay? So does someone want to nominate Mike?
I nominate Mike.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? The motion carries, and Mike Milani, you are now the chairman, so you can take over the rest of the meeting, and I'll guide you along.
He's like, I gotta go.
So you're going to have to ask for a vice chairman and a secretary.
Okay. I guess we were also looking for volunteers for a vice chairman, if anybody is interested, to basically fill in where I won't be here. So,
I volunteer.
excellent. Is that
Do
Greg?
we have- Yep.
Okay.
I nominate Greg.
Okay. Do we hear a
Second?
Somebody second?
Second.
So, okay. Welcome to our
All in favor?
all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
So, okay, you're approved. Welcome to our vice chairman. So our third position that we'll be looking for volunteers for will be the secretary to keep, rough notes on what we talk about throughout the day. It doesn't have to be minute specific, but any follow-up items that need to come out of it, we'd look for somebody to take action on that.
And Frank, on most of these commissions, our staff pretty much puts together the minutes. Are you going to be able to do that with the help of the secretary?
So the minutes take, for an hour, it takes about 3 to 6 hours to transcribe them and put them together. So we should probably think about, like Mike said, just doing a quick call it a overview of what happened rather than
If we
exact
do,
minutes.
if we conduct the meeting in here, the benefit is it's on tape.
It's on tape, right?
And so we can just put, refer to audio tape, refer to audio tape, refer to audio tape, and you don't have to put all of the minutes in there. So that's one benefit of being in here. And since we have the technology guy here, he can make sure the tape's always working. So,
So make it a little bit easier on the secretary.
yeah, so therefore you're not going to have 6 hours of transcription. It's going to cut your time down. Probably it'll be less than your time for the commission itself.
So
So do we have,
it makes it a little bit more palatable. A lot more palatable.
would anyone like to volunteer?
Any nominees for that?
Anyone?
You won't go at it alone.
Well, so here's what I would suggest. I'll talk to Ed and see if he'll do it since he's not here. But we won't nominate him today. We'll make sure he accepts it, and then we'll go from there. The good news is it is a way to understand how things work. Okay.
Okay. Good deal.
Okay.
Smart cities.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the smart cities topic. Basically, what we're looking for, since we're starting to gain more traction with it, we're starting to get survey results from the citizens, and we're getting good positive feedback, as well as we're doing other things like attending a smart cities conference on the 26th with I think it's the governor's staff. Is it the governor is holding that
Yeah,
meeting?
so let's step back just a little bit. I apologize for the slow start of these first couple meetings. I thought, because Trustee Dodge has been about having this commission for a long time, I actually thought he was going to be here, because it is the commission that, he's actually the liaison for the commission, so that's why I didn't attend. I actually don't attend most of the commission meetings, except for the Economic Development Advisory Board, because I am actually a member of that. Not a voting member, but a member of that. And even that one, I miss a fair amount of those meetings because if I go to all the meetings, I steer the conversation. You know, it's the nature of the position. People defer to me too much, and I really want to get the outside input. But given the fact that we got off to a bit of a slow start because of this, which is not unusual. Even the Economic Development Advisory Board has been around for 15 years, and it got off to a slow start because it hadn't met in 5 years. So it took a couple of meetings to get our legs underneath us, and now they're doing a lot of good stuff. So that's why we moved this one to here, because I was actually doing economic development work in Vegas at your last meeting. And it looks like we got pretty good turnout except for Ed, and I'll reach out to Ed because he can call in if he's going to work, so he could still call in and listen and participate. With the smart cities, and Mike, you can backfill this as we go, but basically it was an initiative started in the Economic Development Advisory Board that we wanted, one of the things that Orland Park needs to do is we need to become better with technology, both from an internal perspective, which we've been working on and Frank's been working on, but also externally and helping our business community in that for economic development purposes. One of the ways to get people into obviously, if we want to see technologically savvy businesses coming in here, STEM businesses, that kind of thing, we also need to be able to attract those kind of workers. Well, one of the things that attracts those is to have a village that's a little bit more technologically savvy. Now, relative to the rest of the towns, we're not a laggard, but I would say but all the rest of the towns are laggards. So we're well behind. The outside government. The private sector, the government's way, way, way behind, and we're no different. And so that's something that we're trying to improve. So we've had some brainstorming sessions, some of the things that we would like to do going forward, and we can share that presentation with you at a later time because I don't think we have it today. But one of the things that we did is the next step from the brainstorming, the discussion at the Economic Development Advisory Board was to do a survey, which we have, and we have about 88 respondents.
Right.
And one of the questions I have on the survey is these were all electronic?
All but one.
All but one were electronic?
One
And did we
just-
push it out to our email list, or did we just put it on Facebook?
We did. We pushed it out to Facebook, Twitter, and we posted it on the web for a period of time, and we're going to repost it back on the web.
Right, but did we push it out, because we actually have a newsletter list.
Could ask. Jen to do that if you like.
Well, we don't. I mean, PIO has a newsletter list, so I don't know that you're familiar with that. I'm pretty sure we have a newsletter list that we actually send direct communications to, which is beyond the Facebook, Twitter. We might get a better response, because 88 gives us a good direction. I think directionally, this probably won't change a hell of a lot, but I'd like to see 300 or 400, given the size of our town, so we can get a little bit more cross-section information that we can't get.
What the 88 has given us, though, is a clear picture that some of the assumptions that we made during our planning were on the right track, though, at least by seeing some of the results.
Yeah, I think some of the things that I took away, and Mike is actually, he's leading this effort for the Economic Development Advisory Board, as he said. And because of the Open Meetings Act stuff, which, believe me, for all of you who have issues with it, I do too, so does Frank, it makes it very cumbersome to do business. I mean, the intent is good for transparency, but it makes it very, very cumbersome to not be able to have 3 of you sitting in one meeting without it being announced 48 hours prior. It's a pretty large pain in the butt, to say the least. But with the Smart Cities Initiative, what Mike can do, since he sits on both commissions, is that we can have 1 volunteer from technology, 1 volunteer from the Economic Development Advisory Board, so now we'll have 3 people pushing this forward. So, but to give you some of my takeaways from this, I don't know, how many of you saw the survey?
Yeah.
You all saw it?
I've seen it, sure.
Okay. So, it seems to me, residents want to use technology, for sure. It seems like some of the technologies that we've been pushing, kiosks and things like that, that's going to take some serious push to get them over the hump on that kind of stuff. I do think when you look at the willingness to use for water billing and things like that, there's only it's less than 20% that don't want to use it. I think it begs the question of, do we force them to use it so that we don't have to use manpower for that stuff anymore? And it's silly to have people lined up at the cashier's cage.
That's a paradigm shift for the residents too, right? So
It is, but
residents-
but it's something we can actually force, and there'll be some complaints, but people will get used to it, and so those are the kinds of decisions that we have to make. So I think one of the things we're going to be looking to do here is looking for volunteers. But Mike, if you want to talk any more about the survey and kind of what your takeaways are, and if anyone else wants to pitch in as well, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yep. Yeah, let me pull up my survey really quick here. Yeah, and actually, we did share the presentation at the last meeting, the Smart Cities
Okay.
Initiative,
All right,
and
good.
what we're planning to do moving forward. And, one of the reasons that we're asking for volunteers is because this is where the work is really going to start happening. Once we, start getting more input from the survey, then we need to start building kind of like a roadmap as how we want to start implementing some of these solutions. So I think, somebody's input from this team would be really valuable, along with, I also have a volunteer from the Economic Development Advisory Board that'll be working along with us from a local business. So we get some of the business aspect and economic perspective of the businesses in the area, and then we'll also have some insight from the technology side. So I think that's a good mix of people. To focus on the survey, what I noticed is, our assumption of the median age, we need to focus really in between, like the 51 to 55 was one of the big numbers, 61 to 65 was pretty big, and then the 36 to 40s were some of the higher demographic sections. So kind of goes along with what we thought, and surprisingly enough, as many people that were in the higher age brackets, people are still willing to use technology, which, a lot of people think that, oh, well, because people are older, they may be adverse to technology, don't want to use it. But when I get a text message from my 90-year-old grandma, I guess that assumption's kind of incorrect. So, we need to make sure that we're supplying solutions that will everybody be able to use. One of the other things I picked up was, I think one of the ways we worded the question must have confused people, because we asked them, what services would you prefer to do in person? And, one of the highest ones was like window vehicle stickers and Secretary of State. But then later on, when we asked them if there was an online service, they went, yes, absolutely. So I think maybe we need to reword one of these questions here. And particularly, it's question 9, which service would we prefer to do in person?
And we could change that wording, but it'll skew the results a little bit.
Yeah,
That's a little bit,
and
But, yes.
I would leave the wording the same. I think what it suggests is that there's a lot of people that are used to coming here
Yeah.
for,
Okay.
and so since they're just getting, and it's maybe the order of the questions that's, that impact it more because they're not really into all the technology questions yet, that might be causing some of it.
Right.
So.
I have an observation, a couple things that struck me. Question 13 and 14. Question 14, how often do you visit the village website? 81% say occasionally or infrequently. A small minority use the village website. And I would have to agree that I think it's being updated, and it could certainly use that. I find it very cumbersome myself. But then, in contrast to that, you follow the village Facebook page for information. 86% of the respondents said they do that. Interesting.
Yes.
Just want to keep up with the news, I guess, what's going on.
Well,
So,
and I think, to your point on the website, and I think that's one of the discussion items we need to have here, because I think this group can have a lot of input, on that, so we can discuss that in a bit. But we are revamping it because we know how hard it is. I think Frank and I have had this discussion numerous times. If I go to the website a lot to find information, and I did a lot during the campaign. I did. Couldn't find anything by navigating the website. But if I go to Google and search for exactly what I'm looking for, I can go. It'll link me right to the page. So the information is there, but it's the website itself is just unnavigable. It just, to be fair, I mean, that's just where we're at. And so I know we're really making a big effort to fix that and simplify it so that it can be navigated very easily.
we'll be voting on it Monday.
Oh, so it's on Monday? On the who was awarded?
Yes.
Great. Which brings me to question 16 too. How likely would you be to use the following technologies for receiving information from the village? The top 4 were email, website, social media, and a mobile application. So that was good to see that, those are primarily the areas that we want to focus on improving. I think that's in line with our expectations. And then, like I mentioned earlier, people would be more than happy if we could allow them to renew their village stickers online, to be able to pay their water and sewer bills, request permits, and to have real-time problem entry and tracking,
So, yep.
and a access to public safety information. So a lot of people willing to use technology if we gave them the services to do so.
So to that, this is a preview of the test environment for the resident capabilities to go and submit tickets, whether online, and there is also an app, as you can see over here in the corner. But you can go in and submit a new request and pinpoint your address or a location, tap on it, and it'll start to give you information of what you want to do. You want to open up a ticket? What type of ticket do you want to open up? That type of thing. So we're getting there. This is the new application that we're putting in place called Tyler Technologies.
So then this would basically geolocate the problem, dispatch to the appropriate department, and then possibly open a ticket to be able to do the work?
Sure, you'll be able to do that from your mobile app or sitting at your home.
Excellent.
At your home. And it also give you, we can decide whether or not we want the dashboard to be publicly viewable or not. Give you a second to refresh. Again, this is the test environment, so.
Did anyone else have takeaways?
Chuggy. So we're getting there.
Those were the ones that I picked out, except for we also have people that'd be interested in, participating in focus groups and even beta testing new technologies. So at least we have a small list of people that are willing to do that. Quick question, some of these were blank, and I noticed some of the questions had like the responses not attached. Are those the ones we're just kind of keeping private because it's email and things like that?
No, on this particular survey that I gave you, I didn't include the resident responses on it.
Okay, that's fine.
Because you could do one or the other, so I could.
If you do, you'd have had 100 and...
Yeah.
So.
But I saw the initial 44 that we had, and there was actually some good feedback in some of those, so it was definitely.
We could probably send those out electronically, so that way,
Yes.
you can look at them. That'd be good.
Yeah, here they are.
So
I'm just curious if anyone else had any other takeaways. I had a couple others, but...
Yeah, actually, the question when I looked this over, is we have a good-sized population, this village of 56, 57,000 people, and we got 88 responses. So my main thing is, you know, I am so for being a smart city, and that's why I'm here. And my concern would be is why do we get 88 responses? And then when you look at some of these, sometimes a third of them aren't even answering the questions. So again, I think we do need this push for technology, but we also need to educate our citizens. What are we doing and why? Why are we not getting responses? We only put it out on what, Twitter, Facebook,
and the website.
and a website.
So that was my point earlier, is I think we have an email newsletter list that's pretty high. I think it's about 8,000 people. And I think we can push it to them. I think the other thing that we could potentially do, Frank, is get PIO to get the Prairie to run a, kind of a public service little ad or little piece on it. So, and that wouldn't, if we got on that today, Frank, it would get to next week's paper. And then we could coordinate getting that push out on the newsletter and redoing it. Because I agree, as I said earlier, 88 is not enough. I'd like to see 300 or 400. You're not going to get everyone to do it. As far as dropping off, what you're seeing there is the survey's long. And so that's why those back half, the people stopped. That's why they stopped answering, because the survey's long. And which we know, believe me, the first round of the survey questions was 70-some questions. So we pared it down. There's just a lot of demographics we tried to get and a lot of things we're trying to touch.
And I think that the way you put it out with Facebook and Twitter, when you look at the demographics, I'm not surprised at all with Facebook. I think a lot of heavy Facebook users are older people, believe it or not. And also in that other demographic, I think in the 30s. I question whether a 20-year-old or 25-year-old actually looks at a Orland Park Facebook page. They're looking at different types of things. So anything we can do to get it out. To be honest, I didn't even know the survey went out, and I now have to like I have to like Facebook and Twitter.
And I'm linked on the Facebook page, and I didn't know it went out either. So, I mean, other than our conversation, I never saw
There's a lot that goes out on the Facebook, so it's easy to
right.
miss.
And I do get an email. Somehow I signed up with a listserv for any kind of news release on the website, and I get something at least once a week. So I don't know where it was on the website. Where it was on the website was a news release or.
This is on the front page at the bottom.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's still there or not.
Yeah, so I think the points are valid, and that's why we need more. I think directionally, we have an idea of what's going on here. I guess my takeaways would be, so I'm not surprised at the demographics. That's the demographics of our town. Our median age is 56. I don't know if you know that, so our median age is pretty high. We don't have a large in the 20-something population.
Yeah.
So even if we were able to reach them, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we can reach them through these methods, like you said. 2, I'm not sure they're paying one bit of attention to local government. I'm pretty sure they're not, right? So we may get it, but also that's really is a very small demographic in our town. So I guess my takeaways on this were, we spent a long time talking about Twitter and Instagram and some of the new technologies coming out. I think what this suggests is we should focus on being good at the existing technologies that people are using, which we're not good at, as evidenced by this survey, right? We didn't reach that many people, and we put it out on Facebook. I didn't see it,
Yeah,
right?
We put it also on every one of the facilities, so people don't
Right.
wanna-
So I think so it begs that we need to be better at getting things to people via the existing methods that they use,
And even something as simple as putting a flyer out in the hall out here.
which we did.
There is one
Okay,
out there.
okay.
Yeah, the survey's actually out there, so they can fill it out manually.
Oh, great.
So, I think the other thing is that what it also implies is educating people that this information is there so that they go get it. The survey also suggests that we may need to, on certain items, just take away certain options from them so that they're forced to use technology. So those were kind of my takeaways.
Right. And I really think, I agree, and I think that was one thing that we talked about originally, that, for people that may not be overly involved in technology, that we did need to get something out there, like a newspaper article or at least a little quarter ad or something to get in there to be able to push it to the Prairie, even the Patch. I don't know if there's anything that the Patch could do, but that's still an electronic news method, but it couldn't hurt.
We'll talk to the head of the PIO today and see what we can get done.
Okay, sounds good. And I think the other thing we need on the smart cities is we need another volunteer.
Yep.
Just so you know what Mike is talking about, I can't remember what the group is. I think it's set up by the governor's office, not necessarily the governor's people, but there's a smart city roadshow that's going on, and there's like 3 different dates at the end of June. And you don't have to go to the same date I'm going to. I'm actually going to the Chicago one on the 26th, I think, because it works with my schedule. There's a 27th one in Aurora as well. And it's a morning presentation followed by a lunch of what's happening with smart cities. And all of you can attend that if you'd like, because you're not having a discussion. So it's not an Open Meetings Act issue, since you're not having a discussion. So you're all invited to attend that.
Yeah, I signed up for the 26th and the 27th because
Okay.
I saw that you were changing it, so I'm like, okay, I'll switch to the 26th.
But I guess what we need is a volunteer for the Smart Cities Initiative, for that team to work with Mike and work with the Economic Development Advisory Board. So if somebody would like to.
Is that downtown or is that Schaumburg? Where was that at?
Yep, the 26th, I think, is in.
26 is in Chicago.
It's in Chicago.
There's not a exact location.
I think it's downtown.
Yeah, it says Chicago, and there was supposed to be more information to come, so.
Is it June 26th?
June 26th, yep.
I'd certainly like to volunteer for that,
Okay.
participate in that.
Want Jen to send an email to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we can send that email to everyone, anyone who wants to sign up. But, so John, you want to sign up for the Smart City, this group, or?
Do I,
So we have, so
just to go to the
one
meeting.
is there's the educational piece that is coming up that everyone can go to. But we were looking for one person to join the Smart City Initiative. So we have a team of 3 between here, we have someone from here, Mike from here as well, and then the EDAB board, which Mike sits on as well. And then
yes, I understand. I'd like to participate in the way what you just described. And
In the initiative moving
Correct.
forward is what we're looking for.
Yes.
more than anything.
okay, that sounds good. And we don't actually need an official motion or anything like that for that, so.
And then we also.
You can coordinate with Mike, he's been involved from the beginning, so.
okay.
So thanks for stepping up.
Yeah, and if you could send out the dates, because I'd like to attend.
He's going to send out the letter.
Very good. Very
It's
good.
Chicago, Aurora, 27th, and then Peoria, the 28th, which is a long way to go. So probably 26th or 27th are going to be the
Okay.
two. I originally thought I was going to Aurora, but then I realized I'm participating in a golf tournament, so for disabled patriots. So it's one that I got to go to. I just hate having to go to official functions that are golf related.
Definitely send them out, because the 26th I'm out of town, but the other dates I would be quite interested.
Yeah, there's a link that you can sign up for. One's in Peoria, one's in Aurora, and one's in Chicago. So the 27th is in Aurora for sure. So if you're going to be available too.
So if you want to move on to the next one, which is the,
Our next item, yes, the commissioner feedback on the Civic Live presentation from our last meeting, or that was in beginning of May.
Correct.
Right.
What are your thoughts? That's the vendor we did present to
Right.
the committee, and they did approve that to move forward to board for Monday. So there's 2 really strong candidates. They were the strongest because of their back-end platform. You know, we have to make it easy for our staff. And I thought they had the best training, the best design, wireframes, things of that nature. I thought it'd be easier for the staff. But Vision was also very close. They were a very good company. But we thought Civic Live sort of took away the show.
Yeah.
But what did you guys think about their presentation and what they had to offer? Because I mean, this is a ground-up redevelopment. We're not really copying much over except for fines.
and just give me the 1-minute rundown, because I wasn't there for the presentation, of what it is.
So today we currently use a provider called Civic Plus. So it can be a little confusing. We're going with a provider. We're asking to go with a provider called Civic Live, and you know it's a more.
They provide what?
modernized- What's that?
They provide what?
The website hosting, platform, training. So
So they're going to be the ones redeveloping the website?
Correct, along with our internal web administrator, so.
So they're redeveloping our external facing website, but also they're going to be hosting it, they're going to be doing all the
Be
internal.
doing everything. And we're going to have an internal website, which we don't have today. We have MyOP, which is more for going in and looking for forms and documents as an employee. But we're going to have an internal website so that when the employees log on their computer, whatever's news for the employees will start coming up that will not be public facing. So that allows us to communicate more succinctly with our employees every day. So something's going on at the police department, something's going on with rec admin.
And they presented to the group here?
They did.
At
They
the last
presented
meeting?
it
Okay,
on
yeah,
our
so I would love to hear your thoughts, because we'll include those with our discussion on Monday night.
Okay, I'll start with that one. I actually enjoyed that presentation. I found that the company themselves were so, the site itself is exciting. And is the thing I brought up the first time, the first meeting, was how do we get around our own website, which I found was very difficult when I tasked you to try to find paying your bill, and it was like,
Right.
it was like pulling teeth from a rhinoceros to you. So this one looked very simple, because to me, as a citizen of Orland Park for many, many years, I always utilized everything I can. I mean, I like the Facebook page. I like seeing all the events. I love getting all that information. And this one I think will be great, because if you can't find something in 1 or 2 clicks, forget it. It's no good. Because people like myself, older people, all my neighbors are my age, my neighborhood in the Fairway subdivision. And they're the same way. And we love Orland Park. We love the technology here that we have, but we want more. And I think the older people like the technology more than the younger ones today. We enjoy this, but that was a great site. I love the framework. I like how easy it was. I like them. I think they were very complete. They everybody's questions and what they did. I think that I liked the Davenport, how they did theirs. I think that was really well put together. I just hope we find a very good picture for the front, something that's exciting of Orland Park, But yeah, I really did. I enjoyed them. I would go with them 100%.
Good. And we have the motto, clicks kill, right? That's my motto downstairs. So we want to try to get through as few clicks as possible to get the information you want. And it also includes improving our search engine optimization too. So we'll also be looking at how to improve finding documents faster. They'll have better search capabilities on this new platform, better indexing. So I think they're all around. Everyone should be pleased, but
Yeah.
definitely, it'll be iterative as we go. So we hope to get something out around August, end of August, beginning of September. So if approved.
So you mentioned Davenport. They did Davenport's website. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Davenport, Iowa. Yes.
Okay.
Are you creating a side-by-side comparison with the other vendor that you are considering, just to see, because without having seen the other vendor, it's hard to compare and contrast them.
So we have a matrix that says, good and bad, and did they complete the task that we asked them to do? Was their pricing in line? Envision was a little bit higher, but that wasn't the determination of why we didn't go with them. There was a very small margin of why we went with Civic Live, to be honest with you. Vision was very good. But we just thought Civic Live had a better platform on the back end from a usability standpoint and a management standpoint for staff. Each division manages their own page, per se.
Right.
And with the ADA rules and regulations and things that have come up, federal government now is watching websites to see if they are ADA compliant visually, as well as the WCGA requirements. So Civic Life sort of took it away. They went on the small things that really, I think, matter from a staff perspective.
Yeah, overall, I was very happy with what I saw from them, and they hit on a lot of the points like you just mentioned with the W3CA and accessibility. I think the one thing that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more about was the mobile experience, just given that I know that I was viewing it on a laptop. That's going to be my first inclination when I'm at work, but when I'm at home, probably the phone, or if I'm on the move, is going to be my first. And I know the standard answer is probably going to be that it's responsive design.
It is.
But if we're managing the content, that's something for us to be considering and how that works on the mobile device.
I'm sure we're going to have a couple demos prior to it to sort of showcase what we're going for the trustees and whatnot.
Sure.
We'll make sure we invite you guys into those meetings.
Yeah, from my perspective, I was impressed. The things I was most looking for was the tools that would be available to the staff to maintain it. Because bottom line, if it's not easy to use, we're going to be in the same situation where the website's not going to get updated. I also look at the viability of the company, and obviously it's owned by a much larger company. I guess they were purchased a few years ago. So I think they're going to have the longevity, and that's the one thing you worry about with technology companies. Are they going to be there? Their experience with municipalities, I think, is a plus. And as we mentioned earlier, the way I use the current website is I Google. I don't go into the website and I can find whatever I want. So based on what their response was, they have that capability right into the website. So a search bar on the homepage, and it's not just keyword driven, which I'd be concerned if you don't tag every page appropriately, you won't be able to get to it. It's actually free-form text according to their answer to be able to pull anything up. So I think that's also powerful. I know we will only want to be 1 or 2 clicks away, but a lot of us are just so used to using Google. If that capability is there, it's great. So overall, from what I could see, I think it would be a good choice. I haven't seen the other one, but I was pretty impressed with the product. And then the other thing, I don't know how you test this out, is bottom line is ongoing service.
It's always going to be a while.
Are they going to be there when you need them? And that's only something I think you and your team have to be able to judge based on your interaction up to this point.
Well, we do call their named clients, so we do ask for references. We call all their references, and they've said they've been very responsive. Today, Civic Plus does a good job with being responsive, but their customers said they are hyper responsive when it comes to their clients. So they were, again, vision was the same thing, very responsive, good feedback from their current existing customers. They were same. So they definitely have the infrastructure, though. I mean, they're a telecommunication company. Like they said, they supply most of the 911 infrastructure for the country. So they have some legs. They'll be there a long time, so that's a good point.
Yeah, I approached the presentation with a bit of skepticism, considering my background used to be web content management and portals for years. So I used to look at all these and like, oh, you can't beat like a big solution. You know, it's always got to be a big solution. But as we got through the meeting, I was really impressed. Their content management solution seemed very easy to use to answer the question of will this be easy to use, and we'll continue to use it. It looks like it's a template-driven approach, so you basically just put your information in there. I also like the idea, which will help fix being able to find information, is they do that investigation up front. They start creating personas of people that will be using the website. They look at the information architecture to figure out how to build a taxonomy for everything. That's what's really going to help find information and be able to divide that information up correctly. If you start with that up front, the rest of it is so much easier. So I like the fact that they're actually taking the time to do that investigation up front. And, the ability to be responsive, on the mobile device. I would still like to see, and I know this may not be the vision of what you're working for, is, possibly having a full native app and then leveraging the capabilities of the content management system to drive the content in that native app, but it may not be there may not be a good way to do it with this platform, which is fine, and then we just do a mobile website.
Yeah, I mean, probably worth a discussion after the meeting,
Right.
So that I understand what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Using the native features of the device in an app, so like, the geolocation, stuff like that, instead of writing something specifically that might have to be used on a mobile device, you just use the capabilities of the device. So, you have the camera capabilities, you have all that built already into the device, so you don't have to really rewrite it. So that, things like that, there might be some overlap, but, if we decide that's the direction to go full mobile app versus mobile website, that's, I don't think it matters that much. But
We're sensitive to making sure whatever we go with is going to be used, to say the least. So
right.
having a website that's responsive, whether or not there's an app, I'm trying to stay away from being app happy. I think Keith, you and I have discussed this several times. We're going to have an app that allows us to do trouble ticketing, for lack of a better term. You know,
Yeah.
stand in a park, say, here I am, broken park bench, broken swing, pothole, and that app is self-aware of where you're at, right?
Sure.
Using today's technology. The website will also be aware. So if you're sitting at the pool and we decide we want to say hot dogs have gone from $2 to $1 for the next 2 minutes,
Sure.
everyone bum rush if you're on the app and you've used our website and your cookie's built into your phone, it'll alert you
Right.
that, hey, something's going on at the pool, that type of thing. So we are wanting to make sure that the app can, or the website can do that without having an app to
Right.
run to drive that behind the scenes.
Yeah. I guess what I'm kind of looking at is the idea of a Orland Park app. One app that encompasses everything. It encompasses information from the website, relevant content to people, all of our capabilities like what you just described with problem tracking and being able to push notification and alerts, because I think we've talked about things like building this online business registry. Well, how do we push promotions to them? If we have a mobile app, that's one platform to push all of this to them. So it's just the way I was thinking. And it could be a future, it could be a phase 2, right? Let's start with mobile website and then move to mobile app.
And we did make some decisions based upon what the chamber gave us feedback on. So the website will be definitely more friendly from a chamber business perspective. So I think you'll see quite a bit of improvement on that end also.
But yeah, overall, I was really impressed. And like I said, I'm familiar with West Corp. They used to be one of my clients. And when I heard that they had a web content management solution, it scared me because I had seen some of the work they had done internally as far as content management. And I was afraid, but they must have actually acquired this company and kind of helped grow it, which was probably the right way to go for them. So.
Anybody else?
Okay. Thank you for the feedback, and I guess we'll move to our final agenda item, which is discussion on days and times for future Technology Commission meetings. We're currently at, our originally scheduled was 6 o'clock on the third, was it third Tuesday, or?
Yeah, I think it's 6 o'clock, third Tuesday of the month is what it's set for now. Obviously, we have to notice, so this is an Open Meetings Act issue, which is we have to notice these things 48 hours in advance if there's a change or anything else. And what we would do if we change the time permanently is we would make that notice so that it's permanently captured.
Correct. Just like we did with this meeting, we publicly
Right.
announced it.
And, so it really boils down to, what time, kind of works best. I know for the Economic Development Advisory Board, it's actually in the morning seems to work best. We get the best turnout. And I know there was pushback on the morning here, but this looks like it's the highest turnout you've had, correct, is the morning meeting. So it's really up to you guys to decide, what works, what you think is going to work best. And again, if you're, if you do choose the mornings and you have to go to a meeting at work or something, and you have to be downtown or up in Schaumburg or wherever you happen to work, you can call in as well. So
Right.
you can take that.
It doesn't always need to be here at the dais. We have a conference room too. We just gotta make sure we have the recording device available.
Right. I remember Ed saying his only hang-up is he has to drive up to, the middle of nowhere, down 294 every morning. So 7 o'clock meetings weren't going to be beneficial for him. So I don't think we would ever have him on site for one. But maybe.
Yeah, the only issue I had is Tuesday just happens to be a bad day for me. If we could do it any other day of the week, whether it's morning or late afternoon, evening, I'm flexible, but I still will be able to make a lot of the meetings. It's just that's just a tough day for me.
Tuesday evenings are bad for you. And right now, Thursday evenings are fine to me. But moving forward, like once it gets into fall, Thursday evenings after 7 o'clock. Yeah, if we had a 6 to 7, that might work. But I'd have to get out of here right at 7. And but that's the only issue with me, I think, would be Thursday nights.
I'm good anytime, any date.
Yeah, it's your
So-
commission, so you guys have to figure
So-
out.
And
So it sounds like Tuesday's bad, Thursday's bad.
And I'm absolutely fine with these 7 a.m.s or 7:15s.
But morning may be bad also for Ed.
For Ed.
This Thursday, this works very well for me. You know, Thursday morning, 7 o'clock.
Actually, like
earlier the better.
I do like the mornings.
Let me,
So we just, you could decide it's going to be that date, and we just got to get Ed in the know. That's all. So whether he could attend from his car driving in. And then if he
I
has
just
to leave, he has to leave.
I don't want to be unfair to a member of the commission for him to have to dial in every time.
so it sounds like Tuesdays are bad, Thursdays are bad, mornings may be bad. How about, I mean, how does Wednesday evening look for you?
Wednesday evening, every third, I have my board meetings for my volunteer organization.
Every third?
Every third Wednesday.
Yep.
So we could do second Wednesday or?
Do a second Wednesday.
Right. Thursday evenings will work for me. It's just I have to
You have to leave at
get out of here as fast as possible as soon as it's over. Yeah, I mean, it's
nothing
earth-shattering if I'm late to where I'm going.
That's fine.
It's okay.
That's
If there's
okay.
a reason to, move the meeting along, that's fine.
Right.
And that's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
being a wise guy, but sure.
Yeah. Yeah, or you could do, you can do the second, we could double check and see what Wednesdays are open, so we don't overload the commission in the locations, and we could check that, and I could also check with Ed on the mornings, and see if he knows about it, if it's what is this, the third or the fourth? This is the fourth Thursday
Yeah.
of the.
And finding a time maybe where we can actually use this room, because hopefully as we start
Well, you can use it in
talking
the
about
mornings.
bigger issues, that we might actually get people, from the
7?
public to show up. 7 a.m. Yeah. No, at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m.
I think that's a hope and a prayer to get people to show up to committee meetings. They barely used to. This is what board meetings used to look like till I got here.
That's for sure.
So potentially fourth Thursday in the morning, or we could do like second Wednesday of the month
In the evening?
in the evening,
But second Wednesday would be fine.
and do it at 6.
A lot of people had problems getting here at 6.
Does 6 o'clock work for everybody?
And maybe 7 may work better for some of them.
So, but on Wednesdays, does 6 work?
6 is best.
6 works.
fine.
6 works?
Six
Okay.
is good.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't I just toss that to Ed and see what works, and then we'll, then I'll just make a call and send it out to everybody. Seems like either one of those would work for everybody in this room, so we'll just check with Ed. So if mornings are going to be bad for him, even if he knows about it in advance, because sometimes if you know that it's always going to be the fourth Thursday, he can arrange his schedule to make that happen. If he can do that, we'll do mornings. If not, I'll just say Wednesday evenings, and we'll make that change. And that actually works better for me. Tuesdays are actually bad for me through the summer. So, and that way, for the next couple of meetings, I could be here with everybody, while the commission kind of gets its legs underneath them.
So just so I'm clear, we have the fourth Thursday of every month at 7 a.m. or the second Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m.
Yep. Right. And I will take it upon myself to call Ed to get, his thoughts on that, and then I'll send an email. I'll have Jen send an email to everybody. And then we'll make all the proper notifications. We'll make sure that's taken care of. You don't need to worry about that. Okay.
Okay.
So on the old and new business front, I guess the two questions that I would ask for everyone is, the first question, Frank, is from the village perspective, what do you need from this group that's going to help you make the technology department more effective for the residents? Because ultimately all of these commissions are here to help and to give staff more legs and give citizen representation to that, and also to help where you need it. If you need a specific project, or you need this looked at or that looked at, that's kind of what this is here for, is to help you have that.
So the commission is the voice of the community. So going out and saying what the residents like and don't like, maybe from, you're attending a village event, or you sort of hear something, from someone talking about something and bringing it back to me. So I know what concerns are out there. From a technology standpoint, I mean, I keep up with technology pretty frequently. I attend a lot of conferences and, read a lot of articles. I'm still very technical as much as I don't want to be as technical in terms of touching the equipment and the gear, I still do. If you guys see a technology, hear of a technology, use a technology that you think would be beneficial to the village. We're doing things like implementing Laserfiche this year. The new website's coming out. We have a new mobile app for resident response, and the Tyler system coming out. This year we're getting so much done, thanks to Keith and the other trustees and giving us funding to be able to get things done. We're improving the Wi-Fi around the village. We're doing a lot of training with folks who have never had technology within the staff. But if you see something, please, it's hard for us to reach out constantly and say, attend this, but if that's what you guys want, we will make a concerted effort to say, can you, here's a meeting that we're going to have with a particular vendor. If you'd like to attend that, I'll be more than happy to open that up for you guys. But it'll be hard for me to work around your schedules.
So on that front, just to let you know how we do this with the Economic Development Advisory Board, I conduct regular retention visits. I think I've had about 40 since I've been here. And what we do, and we can do the same thing to help you, because Jen can do this, and she sends out a mass email and says, because we can only take 2, so no more than 2 of you can go to that, because then it becomes an open meeting, right? So what we do, and we get 2 volunteers. Now, for the first, I don't know, however many, we had the same 2 volunteers all the time, or the first 2 to get back. And so what I told Jen is, I said, okay, we need to divvy this up a little bit. If others don't sign up, then bring those 2, because they can always come. And so to try and make sure everyone's engaged, and that's really helped a lot. It's gotten a lot of input. So for those types of meetings, Frank, where you think it might be beneficial to have some, some expertise, and as you get to know the commission members as well, you may find that, that one person has expertise in this area or that area. You may say, hey, specifically, I'd like to ask this person to attend, right? We can reach out and make that, because I think that would provide some input from the from the citizens that also happen to be knowledgeable about the area, and certainly doesn't hurt to have their perspective. So we can easily do that, where we either do it broadly, or if there's a specific person you think would fit for something, you would invite them. And we do that as well with the Economic Development Advisory Board.
I actually agree, because I think one of the things I noticed when working with the Smart Cities Initiative, one of the things that we were lacking was information on how we can bring technology to businesses and what technology needs they really have. So that's why I have somebody from a business perspective working with me now on the Smart Cities project from the advisory board. But maybe on one of these retention visits, somebody with a technology-oriented mindset can go in and ask some of those questions. What technology needs do you have? Are you getting what you need from a technology perspective? Kind of lead them into a conversation about technology and maybe what we could do to benefit them. I think would be a nice viewpoint, because...
And if someone from this group wants to attend those retention visits, I'm happy to put that out as well. If somebody would like, if it's something that the group wants me to do, we will be happy to reach out to you to do that. Would that be something that you want us to do?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
So
bring that feedback back.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll try and invite one of you as well. I don't want to overwhelm them, so probably bring a couple from the Economic Development Advisory Board, and bring one, and then myself and Ed Lilo. That's 5 of us there. That's a pretty big number. But it won't be overwhelming for them, so we can definitely do that. So I'll put that on my agenda as well.
Anybody else?
Question?
What's that?
You had 2 questions?
If I had 2 questions, I forgot the other one. I'll come up with it. So the first question was, the first question was, what do we need? So you've answered that. The second question is it's to this group of, what do you want to do to help the village? Because this is your commission, and it is just started, so it's not like we have some previously formed house that we know how to do this.
Right.
We're kind of building from the ground up.
Well, I know one of the things, I said this before, I noticed too, in my neighborhood and everything else, that the Orland Park is older people now. It's getting older, and we need to bring in the youth. We need to be exciting, try to make this an exciting, high-tech city. So now we want the 25, 30-year-old people or young people just getting married, want to have families to come here. They want that technology, and that's the kind of the vision I'm looking at for this village, is how are we going to keep this village growing, and also then, as people die, I hate this, it's just not whatever. Sometimes I'm not very PC, but if people are leaving or, they're getting older and leaving and going into different homes or moving to Florida, we're bringing in younger, exciting people. We need to do that. We need to have that mix and diversity and be the most diverse and most age mix village around, because that, I think, is going to sustain this village and make it grow strong.
Yeah, I think that was brought up a little bit at the strategic session we had the other night, right? How do we make sure we bring in residents not only just to live but to work? So how do we bring in those corporations that provide a good living wage so people come to Orland Park and they stay in Orland
And you're
Park?
doing a very good job of bringing in some really good things. I really got to say that.
Well, thanks. So on an economic development front, not to go too far astray from technology, but that's what in the I-80 corridor, that's what we want, is we want to see, those white-collar jobs, more technology jobs. That's what we'd like to see in that. And, frankly, we had the strategic session the other night, and, and Frank was there, and he heard a lot of the trustees saying, well, I hope this, if I wasn't here after tomorrow and 15 years from now, I would hope this, I would hope that, I would hope this. And a lot of their hopes, I'm like, I'm not even worried about that. That's going to be here in 3 or 5 years, because, and part of that's because they're not privy to a lot of the conversations that I get to have, in that, the mall is going to redevelop. The Triangle, I'm confident, is going to redevelop. We've set the groundwork so far that now the marketplace is jumping on that. Once the marketplace grabs it, they're going to take it. We don't have to sit here and do a whole lot. Yeah, it was a lot of work to get the AMC deal through, okay? But that has started, that being there, all of these other pieces that are falling, the Carsons and the Toys R Us, people are all over those sites. So that's going to happen. I-80 is a little different. We're setting a lot of groundwork there, but the market hasn't really grabbed onto it yet. So we still have some work to do on that front to bring those people in. But one of the key lessons I learned in Vegas was that I was at a class and they were talking about the future. And the future, we always hear, the millennials they just want to live downtown. Well, ultimately they're going to have kids and they're going to move back to suburbs as well. But they may be looking for something different in their suburbs. And one of the things you hear all the time is they want city areas in the suburbs. That's not really what the research that I saw the other day is showing. What it's showing is they actually, if they're going to go to the suburbs, they know they're moving to the suburbs. They're not going to be in the city anymore. But they want to be really connected to outdoors and nature and all of the leisure things that they like to do when they leave the city, because now they're going to be by it. Well, Orland Park, that's a huge advantage for us. You name me another suburb that has all that we have from an outdoors perspective, the forest preserves that are nearby, the bike trails, the horse trails, the lakes, all of those things. We have that in spades. Now, if you've got a place up in Wisconsin, you're not going to want to live down here. But if you've got a place in Michigan or Indiana, would you rather be here or would you rather be up on the north side and take that extra hour every weekend? So there's an awful lot here. So those things we have to market to bring those young people here.
And for an example, is my daughter, when she first got married, she moved to the north side of Chicago because it's exciting. They have the restaurants, they have everything that they wanted. They can go there, they can walk there. And now, as soon as she had her first baby, where do you think she moved to? Right back home. Because of those things. She knows that this is where she had great schools. I mean, look, I'm really excited to hear our high schools are rated some of the best in the state now. So we got these great schools, and I know my schools are great because my kids graduated and they're all success from this area. But that's what she's doing too. And I have other kids who want to move back here, but their jobs are out there in Michigan and one's in Virginia, but they want to move back here because they love it here. And that's the thing. So what are some of the things we could tweak in this village that can bring that over that hump excitement? Some of the things they like are great restaurants. They like great nightlife. They like outdoors, like you said, exactly outdoors. They love jogging, they love all this.
Yeah, and we're working on all of that stuff, and I think you're gonna see a lot of positive changes on that front. So what other things on the technology, side, from your perspective, would you like to bring to the table to the village? Or, you don't necessarily have to answer it today, but it's something to think about as we go forward, so that this commission is, both engaged but also helpful.
And, that could be something too. I mean, if you come up with ideas, let me know, and we can make sure we add them to the agenda, and we can have a discussion around them and, see if it's something we could bring forward. I mean, that's our purpose and that's our vision, right? How can we bring technology to Orland Park to make the citizens' life more enjoyable? I mean, that's what we're all about. So if you guys come up with those ideas, definitely send them along, and we'll have them added, and we'll dedicate time to them.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's the promotion. I mean, just getting everybody to get on a mailing list, or, get everybody involved and going to the website when it's redesigned, or, trying to figure out ways to get people more involved and know this committee exists.
Yes.
So we can help them.
And as part of that Smart Cities initiative too, one of the things that we earmarked was the fact that if we're going to implement technology, we do need to educate. We do need to have some kind of open sessions where we invite people in to talk about the technology, so we can show it to them, so they'll start using it and adopt it. Because without adoption, we created a bunch of technology that nobody's going to use. So
Well, it's the technology that we want to create for this village that will let people know we have all these things that are great.
and better ways to advertise and promote, I think.
And I'll give you a perspective, because obviously sitting in the mayor's office, now I know of all the events and I have to go to all the events. I've lived there for 20 years and didn't know about 75% of them. And I probably would have partaken in some of those, even with my family, if I would have known that they existed. So you're right, there's an educational component to all that, getting the information out.
I think we'll be able to reach a much broader subset of the residents with the new website, because it'll be more specific to, I want to know more about this, and signing up for it. So recreation will have more in your face presence, parks, those different things that are going on, multiple calendars, I guess is what I was getting at. So you can go and see what you're interested in.
Oh, and, also with some of the work that we've been doing on the Economic Development Board is, tweaking the marketing materials and coming up with better marketing materials for people to see. So that one, right? Oh, that's the first print.
You'll see them at the next meeting. We've got them. I brought them with me to Vegas.
So, being able to have like one pagers or a little, two folds, they're,
We got another one too, but so.
to really start showcasing, what's out there. And it's good stuff.
It is 8:03,
Yes.
and we got a hard stop at 8. This room will
So,
fill up in a little bit.
okay, so real quick, I'll tell you my perspective on this. So I think where this commission can be very helpful is joining the meetings and providing a perspective. As Frank said, feedback that you hear from outside, and promotion, as Kurt said, promoting what's going on so people know, so people get engaged, and then getting feedback from people. I think that's helpful for us, because we don't get all the feedback necessarily. One of the things going forward, and this is more, for Frank to actually put on you, is help on initiatives. So anyone who's been involved with kids sports here knows that there's a system that we use for allocating fields. That was actually done by the Parks and Rec Commission way back in the day.
Yes.
So something like that, when that comes up, if Frank, you find yourself, hey, I'm overtaxed, we can't get here, that might be something that the commission can grab and run with a little bit. Kind of like the Smart Cities initiative. We've got so many things going on. Can we really, get all of that going on? Well, with some help from the commissions, we can do that. The other thing that came out today about the website that, I think we need to investigate for the future, not necessarily right now, which is, we know we have a revenue issue in our town. Is there an ability to promote and advertise via our, let businesses advertise via our website, via our application, and is there a way to generate revenue based on that, which is good for businesses and good for us? So something to consider for the future, not.
And that's a policy decision too, so
Right.
we have to run that through the
So,
system.
but if we have that capability,
We have
why
the
not?
capability, I'm sure.
It's
The technology's there to be able to do it.
Right.
It would be a policy decision.
But is that something that we want to do to give businesses an opportunity to promote themselves?
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Okay,
Absolutely.
if there's no other new business, look for a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Favor?
All right?
Aye.
Okay,
You're
meeting
adjourned.
adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Hopefully this was helpful and good.